Hey guys, this is the Savvy Blondes. We are here and we are ready to hang out in our PJs. We've got our wine. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. But first off, Happy New Year. Woo! We are so excited you're here. This is our launch video. We're so excited. We got cupcakes. We are ready to rock. So I hope you are sitting in your PJs with a beverage of your choice. Cheers to you for joining us. Thank you so much for being here. Just to talk a little bit about who we are and why we started this channel. My name is Ash and I am a life and wellness coach here in Phoenix, Arizona, and my mission is just to help people live their best life. I mean, not to sound all Joel Osteen, that's kind of what I do. And I'm currently in school. I'm going to be doing a holistic health coach. It's like a mouthful. But I'm going to be a board certified holistic health coach. So I'm going to also be the guru on all things health and wellness as well. And let me introduce you to Caitlin.
Hi everyone, my name's Caitlin and my mission is actually very similar to Ash's. You know, I really just want to help people and I really want to empower young women and people all throughout the world to know that they can live their best life and that they are amazing and that they just need to be kind to themselves to live through the day-to-day and be kind to those around them. So I'm a pageant title holder in the Miss America organization. I'm Miss Gilbert.
She's fancy. Where's your crown? You should wear your crown. Are you allowed?
I am allowed. It's in my car.
Oh my god, next time.
Yes, next time. Oh my gosh, so fun. But yeah, so I'm really excited to be doing this YouTube channel, The Savvy Blondes, with one of my besties, Ash, and get to reach the Millennials and Xennials on a really just face-to-face level. So
yeah, and you know, the reason that we created this channel is we noticed in our own lives and in the lives of our friends, you know, via Facebook or social media, that there is this kind of glaring gap in our education, if you will, on how to adult. And a lot of us kind of left home feeling a little under-equipped. So we are here to not just teach you, because obviously we don't know everything, but the goal here is to bring on millennials who have mastered certain aspects of adulting and have them kind of give us a hands-on demo and teach us a little bit so that we can kind of level up in our expertise as adults and go from there. And of course, if you are a guest on our show, you get a gold star participation trophy, because as millennials, everybody gets a trophy.
Participation trophy.
That's right. We get awarded just for showing up, and it's beautiful. So we're gonna crack some jokes about millennials, make fun of ourselves a little bit, but also we want to celebrate who we are and the amazing generation that we are, and yeah, that's why we're here. So we hope you guys enjoy our channel. Today, since it is New Year's, January 2nd, it's our launch. We're going to be talking about
why the new year, new me mentality is really detrimental to your new year.
Who is guilty of posting that? New year, new me, hashtag
me.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Okay, so talk to us, Caitlin. Why is it bad?
Okay, so obviously today is January 2nd, and I'm sure you guys have all set your new goals. You know, you're going to go to the gym, you're going to lose 10 pounds within the first 2 weeks, you're going to stop eating all of those delicious gluten-free cupcakes that you want to stuff your face with all the time. But let's be real. Most of us don't meet these goals. Most of us fall off the bandwagon within the first month to 3 months. And what's really sad is that there was actually a statistic that I found that less than 10% of all New Year's goals actually get met.
Yikes, why is that?
It's just really hard to maintain those goals. You know, you go into this new year and nothing's really changed. You haven't changed. And you think that because all of your friends are setting these goals that you need to, or you decide like this is going to be your year, but once again, nothing's really changed. I mean, yeah, the date has changed and yeah, it's a new year, so that's great, but nothing else has. You know, if you can't make that commitment to yourself and you haven't really decided like that's the commitment that you want to make, you're not going to follow through with it.
Yeah. I mean, do you feel like it's this whole... Do you feel like people set themselves up with unrealistic expectations, or do you feel like maybe their expectations are fine, they just don't really have the plan in place to back it up?
I think it's both. You know, I think we're all guilty of saying, I'm going to go to the gym 5 times a week and do cardio every day to lose that 10 pounds, which, yeah, in theory, that's a great way to follow that goal. But if you've never gone to the gym before you set that goal, you're not going to go to the gym 5 times in 1 week. And then that means you're not going to lose that 10 pounds because let's face it, I'd rather be on the couch eating Cheetos or Taco Bell than going to the gym, especially after leg day for the first time ever.
For sure.
But then also, you know, if you do, like, you set these really high standard goals for yourself. Like maybe, you know, you really, really love drinking Coca-Cola and you decide you're going to quit it cold turkey. Or maybe you smoke cigarettes, you know, and you smoke a pack a day you have for years and you decide, this is the new year and I'm never smoking another pack. Your body can't do that. I mean, yeah, some people can, and kudos to you, but it's
really
just,
hard, though.
it's really hard.
Yeah.
And when you don't achieve that goal, you feel like a failure, and that makes you go back to those things that you didn't want to be doing in the first place.
Yeah, it really messes with your head, I think.
Absolutely.
So maybe then setting goals should be two-part. Like, you set your goal, right, and then you have to also come up with a sustainable, actionable plan to do it. And I think sustainable is the key word here, because
Absolutely.
I think you're right. I mean, a lot of us kind of try to go from this like 0 to 100 mentality, like, you know, I was never going to the gym and now all of a sudden you're going every day. And it's like, you might keep that up for maybe a week, but then yeah, the first hurdle you hit where you know, kind of fall on your face and it's hard,
Yeah.
you know, it's temptation to quit because you're like, well, I made it this long without doing it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So where do we go from here then? So obviously, you know, as humans, we're constantly trying to like make ourselves better, and we want, you know, to develop new habits. And I don't think the new year is a bad time to start that,
No.
but at the same time, you can't expect to just go from 11:59 p.m. to 12:01 a.m., you know, 2019 and be like, oh, suddenly I'm someone who goes to the gym 5 days a week, and suddenly I'm someone who doesn't smoke anymore, or I'm, you know, going keto, or, you know, whatever your goal is, you know. So what do we do?
Right, so the first thing that I want to leave with you guys is that you want to set sustainable goals. So I want you to write down all of those goals. If that means that it's smoking no cigarettes as of today, then that's great. Write that down and then look at these goals and see, like, look at them and really think, are they achievable? Like, could I really do this today? Could I do this a week from now? Could I do this a month from now? And see if they are in that sustainable realm. And if they are, great. And if they're not, start to level it down. So for smoking, like say you do smoke a pack a day, start by saying, you know, I'm going to switch to vaping, or maybe I'm going to switch to a lower level of nicotine in the vape, or say I'm going to smoke half a pack, or I'm going to smoke one less cigarette each week, and go down from there. And just be kind to yourself. Understand that if you don't like follow through with it the first time, that's okay. You're human and you're trying, and that's what's important. You know, nobody does everything perfectly the first time, and if you do, I want to meet you because I want to learn how to.
Right? We need to have you on our show.
Yeah.
So
Contact us. Yes. But seriously, like, just be kind to yourself and know that this is a process and it doesn't happen overnight. Just like you don't become a new person overnight just because it switches from 11:59 on New Year's to January 1st, you know? So
it's like super inspiring to think about. You
Yeah.
know, like you want to think like, oh, I'm a new person, but you know, the reality is we're complex human beings, and it takes us a while to change course. It's kind of like this big luxury cruise liner. Like, you can't just suddenly turn on a dime and go this direction. Like, you have to make these steps to kind of start veering yourself into a better
absolutely.
way.
And the other thing that I really want to stress to you guys is you can set goals at any time. Like, I know that the new year seems like a perfect time to do it because it's a new year, things are changing, you know, it's you want things to be great this year, but you know, you could start going to the gym at any point. You could stop eating 20 cupcakes at any point, you know, like it's just up to you to make that decision and to create that habit. And ultimately that's what it is. It's creating a good habit to replace a bad one or an old one that wasn't necessarily the best for you.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And I like what you said about the actionable steps and starting small and giving yourself kind of that grace to not be at 100% every day. And to just start, and if you're at 0%, like shoot for just 1% the next day, you know? And like for me, I know a while ago, I was kind of overweight and was trying to lose some weight and be healthier. And I realized I was really struggling with a sugar addiction. Like previously, all 4 of these would have been gone at this point, but you know, I've worked on it. And one of the big things for me was I had coffee from Starbucks like every day, and I would get an iced coffee with peppermint syrup, extra sugar, whipped cream on top. Like, girl, it was bad. And so instead of trying to just go cold turkey though and like eliminate all the sugar, you know, I would get 5 pumps of sweetener in it, and then the next time I would go, I would get just 4 pumps, and I'd have everything else the same. You know, I still have the peppermint, I still have the whipped cream, and I would just take it out little by little, and you know, every week I would subtract another pump. So within like 8 weeks, I was literally just drinking straight coffee with just a splash of coconut milk. And I didn't feel super deprived because I had built myself up to it. And that's a huge thing, I think, especially with food goals or weight loss goals, is when you're going into it, if you go cold turkey, you start to develop this like deprivation mentality where you're like, I can't have all these things, and I want this, but I can't, or I shouldn't eat that. And it's so harmful for your brain to think that way. It's so much better to kind of put it into that growth mindset phrase and say, I choose to have less because I know it's healthier for me. And,
Absolutely.
I know you were going to talk about growth mindset.
Yes. So I'm really happy that you mentioned that. The other thing that I really want everybody to bring into this new year, and it's actually something I've been learning in my classes. I'm an education major, and so we talk a lot about the vernacular that you use with your students and how you tell them like, oh, you can't do this, or obviously you're not capable of doing this, and really switching that over. And I kind of took that to heart, saying to yourself like, you can't do this, or I'm not able to do this, or I'm not capable, I'm bad at this, is really detrimental to yourself. And so switching that vernacular from like, for example, like, I'm bad at math sometimes, so saying like, oh, I hate math, I'm horrible at math, I never understand it, to, oh, I'm working on math, or I'm really trying my hardest to improve on my skills in math. Or when you're losing weight, like, I know I'm trying to be more fit, not necessarily lose weight, but tone myself up just because I want to be more comfortable with the body that I'm in. And so instead of saying like, oh, I just feel like I'm fat, or, oh, I'm a little bit like pudgy, saying, okay, well, I want to tone myself, I want to be more fit, and I want to be more healthy.
Right.
And that's so much more positive. It's so much better for yourself to hear those things. And it's so much better for the people around you to hear those things. I think we forget a lot of times who's really listening.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I'm sure a lot of us have like little sisters or little cousins or little brothers who...
Or kids.
Yeah, kids who hear us saying, oh, like mommy thinks she's fat, or oh, my big sister thinks that she's like a little bit chubby. And so I think I'm a little bit chubby because that's what I'm seeing, and I want to reflect what this role model of mine is saying and seeing. And they might not recognize it as a negative trait, but then all of a sudden it becomes that negative trait in their life too.
Yeah.
So it doesn't just affect you. And I think that that's another really big thing to think about when you're trying to apply this positive change just to your vocabulary. Mm-hmm. And the way that you say things, is it can affect so many other people in a positive way when they hear you talking about yourself in a positive manner, and the way that you're trying to achieve your goals and why you're trying to achieve them in the first place that way.
Absolutely. And I think a really big thing when I'm working with clients and in places where we've gone and talked to people, and we were at a conference last year in October, and one of our biggest things that we love to talk to people about is really setting your focus on the positive instead of focusing on the negative. So when you're trying to build new habits and you're trying to kind of transform what you're doing, like Caitlin was saying, you start with those small steps, but you look for the progress. You don't look for the times that you fail, and like, you're gonna fail, so like, get that in your head, like, it's gonna happen, and decide that that's okay. You're gonna learn from it, and you're gonna keep trying. And I think if you are taking those small actionable steps and really able to watch your progress, whether that's through pictures or through journaling or posting on social media, for goodness sake. I mean, tag us in it, we'll cheer you on, we're super about it. But
absolutely,
if you're able to really focus on what progress you are making instead of constantly waiting to fail or watching to see if you're going to fail, you're going to have more success, because where your focus is, that's where you're going to go. And so I think that's a really key thing also to keep in mind, with the growth mindset, is that that has to be your focus, because again, if you're going to focus on failing, that's exactly what's going to happen.
Exactly.
And again, being kind to yourself when you do fail, or you have a setback, or a day when you're not at 100%, maybe you're at a 60%. And one thing that a mentor of mine had taught me a while ago was quantifying how you feel every day, which sounds kind of weird, but let me explain. So essentially, it's kind of about keeping a really basic journal. And I'm really not a journaling type person. Are you a journaling type person?
No.
This is the easiest thing to do. You could literally journal on a Post-it note or one piece of paper. So the goal is, you wake up in the morning and you think to yourself, okay, what number am I right now? How am I feeling right now? And if you really practice mindfulness and you center yourself and you check in with yourself, a number will come up. So say you wake up in the morning and you're really focusing and centering yourself, getting ready for your day, and you feel like your number's 40, right? And you can think of it as like a 0 to 100, or you can think of it as 1 to 1,000, however it feels good for you. So let's say this morning I woke up and I was 40, right? The goal is to finish at 41. That's it. You don't have to finish at 100. You don't have to finish at the end. Your goal is just to finish at 41. So then your brain starts looking for ways during the day on how you can kind of level up and say, okay, I'm going to call up my friend Caitlin and see if she wants to go to coffee. Boom, now I'm at 55, or, looking for those things. I made a really healthy choice in my breakfast today, and I feel like a 47 now. These things that are just going to help add to that number. And then at the end of the day, checking in with yourself and remembering, okay, I started today at 40. Now I feel like I'm at 62. Maybe something happened that knocked you down from 80, but you're still higher than 40, right? So checking in with yourself. Jane, if you're watching, this is a shout out to you. Checking in with yourself, giving yourself that number to sort of express how you're feeling in relationship to yourself will help you monitor and track your progress. And even if that's all you write down in a journal, right? Buy a blank notebook, write the day's date, write your starting number, 40, write your end number, what did I say, 62, something, 62, and then just keep track of that. That's all you have to write down. So you write that down for a week, and you're gonna see highs and lows, but in general, the more you start being aware of things and the more you start looking for ways, small ways, to just improve your number by just one, you're going to see a trend that your numbers are just going to start going up, and you're going to start the day maybe at 60 next time, and then maybe at 80, and maybe one day you wake up and you start the day at 100, but that's what you work towards. You don't start there. So that's really an awesome mindfulness practice that I learned from a friend of mine, and I think I'm going to try doing it.
Yeah, no, I love that. I've never heard of doing that before like that, but I think it's really important because it's focusing on present-mindedness, which is something that I feel like we all lack so much. I feel like millennials especially are very detached a lot of the times. We have our phones, and that's great, and we see the social media, and that's what we're constantly looking at. We're looking at everybody posting about their successes and very seldom about their failures, if ever. And we start to believe, even if we know it's not true in our heart of hearts, that everybody is constantly at 100 and they're constantly doing so great and doing all of these amazing things and nothing bad ever happens to them, that we start to get down on ourselves because we're like, well, crap, like Ashley is always posting about her cute outfits and her cute family and all of these amazing things that she's doing, and I'm sitting over here like a scrub. I haven't gotten ready for the last 5 days. I forgot to shower 3 days ago, and I just really want to curl up with a bottle of like wine and cookie dough and cry myself to sleep tonight.
Cheers, girl. Cheers. I feel that.
And that's okay.
It's okay.
But you need to remember that everybody is going through something.
Oh,
and
yeah.
On Instagram and Facebook, they're really not going to be posting about that. And if they do, kudos to them, and kudos to you for keeping it real.
Yeah.
Because you definitely are reminding everybody that it's good to be real.
Absolutely.
But
I think that really shoots us in the foot too when we're playing that comparison game, when we're trying to meet goals, because obviously, I mean, if you think about it, Instagram especially, because it's such a visual thing, is kind of like this online resume. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
It's like an online resume. And so obviously, when you're writing a resume for work, and we'll have to talk about this in one of our episodes.
Yes.
When you're writing a resume, you don't really want to put on there all the times that you failed and maybe the time you got fired, or all the times you screwed up at work. You put your best moments, you put your successes, you put your highlight reel on there, and that's exactly what social media is. And just like you can't judge someone based on a resume, you could have someone who's great on paper, and then when it comes down to the nitty gritty, they're a terrible employee.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with social media. You can be following some like crazy fitness. For me, it's always like the fitness Instagram models who seem to have like endless amounts of money to travel. Don't compare yourself to those Instagram. I mean, we all fall victim to that. There's times when I literally just have to get off of Instagram. It's Instagram for me. It's not so much Facebook, but I have to get off and just take a break.
Yeah.
Like for the rest of the day, like not check my phone. There's times when I'm like, oh, should I delete this picture? It didn't get enough likes, or...
That's me.
Yeah.
Like if my picture doesn't hit 40 likes within the first 2 hours, I'll delete it. And that's so bad. Like, that's so bad.
I was like, that's a great idea. Oh, no, so bad.
No, so the whole thing is, it's like, there's such a difference also for me because I have my personal Instagram and then I have my title holder Instagram. And on my personal Instagram, I post all these pictures from like modeling and like my day-to-day life, and then I'll be like, oh, here's a selfie, and like what you don't see in the selfie is I ate like 6 tacos. And I'm still eating a taco because I love tacos.
Those sound so good.
But it's stuff like that. And like that's when I get frustrated if things don't get likes, because like that's me personally. Whereas like on my title holder Instagram, I share these stories of like experiences I've had like volunteering or with my fellow title holders or with my princesses, and saying, you know, like, this is the experience I had today and here was my takeaway, or this was something really exciting that I got to do and I'm excited to share all of it like with you guys because I want you to know that like this was something that changed my life, or this was something I heard today that really influenced me to make this different decision. And when those don't get a lot of likes, that's okay to me, because I'm like, I shared this amazing like affirmation or this great quote or experience that somebody maybe took away from.
Totally.
And so that's something also that like, if you want to set a goal for yourself on social media, give yourself like one day a week where you make just this awesome personal post and have it be your own personal check-in.
Yeah.
Where you're like, hey world, like today or this week or this month, this happened for me and this was really exciting, but also, you know, I dealt with this. Mm-hmm. And your friends are going to appreciate you more for it, but also you're going to appreciate yourself more for it because you're one of those that are really just being honest and true with yourself and the world around you, and that's great.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, so what are our takeaways? What are our like bullet points to like remember?
So first off, you just have setbacks, you don't have failures, and you have little successes and goals that you are going to constantly and consistently sometimes not meet and sometimes meet on the day-to-day. And that's okay, but just know that you can keep going. Mm-hmm. Second of all, growth mindset. Remember that you need to be positive with yourself, use positive affirmations and vernacular, and that's another one that it's a new goal. Like, you need to know that it's okay to not do it all the time, but work on it and be mindful and notice that. Thirdly, journaling. You want to go into that one?
Yeah, so definitely track your progress. Like, pay attention, whether it's like on Instagram, like you said, like check in and make a personal post once a week about how you did on your goal. That allows people to see you as a real transparent person. And it also is kind of like this little journal you can go back and read through. And if you do it on Facebook, it comes up on your time hop or whatever it's called, memories. Yeah. And so that's really awesome. But then also the little paper journals too, they totally work. So you can do that little mindfulness number check-in thing we talked about, quantify how you're feeling in the morning. Maybe start off, if you're feeling really bad and you're just feeling a 2, that's okay. It's okay to start there. There's no number you have to be at. This is just completely dependent on you, but track that, journal that, keep checking in with yourself, practice that. What did you call it?
Present-mindedness.
Present-mindedness or mindfulness. Really check in with yourself often and, with no judgment. If you're feeling upset about something, give yourself that space to do that and then move past it. That's kind of the whole crux of what mindfulness is. And, I'm sure we'll do videos, at some point on mindfulness, because that's another really big thing we want to hit on this channel is mental health. We feel like a lot of millennials struggle with mental health issues. Raise your hand if you have anxiety or depression or both, right? That's like all of us millennials. We struggle with it so hard. And a lot of us don't have a lot of access to mental health care. And while we're not here to replace mental health care, we certainly don't want you to feel alone or that your situation is somehow unique or weird or off. We want to let you know that lots of people are struggling with what you're struggling with. We want to be here for you. And we'll, I'm sure at some point, have some mental health professionals come on and talk to us and give us some tips and tricks on how to deal with depression and anxiety, because we all got it. So I think those are some really awesome takeaways for our new year, and Absolutely. We're both very excited. We have a Disneyland trip coming up in a few weeks, which is awesome, and we're going to be doing this really cool video on how you can make Mickey Mouse ears that light up for like $5. Yes. Because we all know we got to save money.
And I like Disney bounding, so.
Yes, we're going to do that too. We have a gal who's going to come on and talk to us about building your business, launching your business, all the things that it takes to do that, both practically and mentally and emotionally, because, being an entrepreneur is hard work. There's so many millennials, I feel like, that are really just dead set on owning their own business, and it's awesome. Same, right? It's awesome, but it's so hard.
Yeah.
And so we want to have somebody who's really mastered the art of marketing and all of that. She's going to come on here and talk to us. We're probably going to do like a 3-part series on that. We have a guy who's going to come and talk to us about doing our taxes, because Lord knows we need some help.
Yeah.
And we have so many other guests that are coming on. If you would like to be a guest on our show, you can visit our website at thesavvyblondes.com. On the homepage, there's a form that you can fill out. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your special skills and what you're good at and what you can offer other millennials and Xennials. And we'll take a look at it and we'll have you on our show. We're super excited to have everybody on, and we cannot wait to continue this journey with you guys. One last thing before we go, I want to thank our sponsors. We have 2 sponsors right now. Our first sponsor is New World CBD, and we're going to be talking a lot more about them in some of the episodes to come, so stay tuned for that. You can visit their website at newworldcbd.com. We are also here being sponsored. Our beautiful location is at Thrive Co-working for Women in Gilbert. Thank you so much to everybody at Thrive for your hospitality in hosting us and our show. We are so excited for the rest of this year. Set some goals. Let us know what your goals are. Post about them on our Instagram, or send us a quick email if you want to, thesavvyblondes@gmail.com. We're super easy to find. Hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.